This is a picture of Bob and Beulah Bibb. They are the mother and father of our mother, Annie B. Bibb Fitzgerald. Although these children look like the little rascals, this is actually a picture of our mother. There in the bottom left corner, that's little Annie B. Bibb and some of her family members. She was born on the 31st day of January, 1927, when our nation was just entering the Depression. You can tell from the looks of this picture, times were certainly hard. This is our mother and two of our brothers, sitting atop a rock pile next to the Pond Branch School near Monterey, Kentucky. The rocks are the result of a cistern that had just been hand-dug for the water supply for the school. Our mother used to tell our dad that her family was poor and that his family had more money than hers, and she could prove it from the fact that Daddy had crackers with his soup and she only had leftover biscuits. Our mother was blessed to grow up in a loving family. She had only one sister, Fanny, and they loved each other dearly. Fanny went home to be with the Lord a few years ago in her 90s, and Mommy missed her every day. Fanny said our mother was spoiled when she was little, that on occasions when she needed a whipping, Fanny would take up for her and coddle her. I think she's right. Our mother had 5 brothers and 1 sister, and it was apparent they all loved each other. Not only that, they taught their children how to love one another and how to be respectful. Every year they would go to the lake. They didn't take any of the children, they just wanted to get away from all of us and spend time together as that wonderful Bibb family. We don't have a lot of pictures of all of them, but in the few that we do have, it's easy to see that they loved one another and always carried a smile. Well, our mother got married, and this was her wedding picture. It also is a picture of her wedding dress. Only 19 years old she was, and very much in love with this man, our father. He was 22. He loved our mother the first time he ever saw her, and she loved him. And the bond between the two of them would exist for almost 60 years before Daddy went home to be with the Lord. Mommy was sad every day of her life after that, but she has now joined him in glory. Our father also came from a loving family with 1 brother and 2 sisters, and he loved them all dearly, and they all loved him. Homer was Daddy's best friend and Mommy's brother, and he's the reason that she got to meet our dad. He sits atop this table in between them because he's the one that brought them together. Daddy first met our mother at this little restaurant in Monterey, Kentucky. He was driving a milk truck and she was waiting tables. She was just a teenager. Daddy stopped the milk truck because Homer had told him to go in and meet his sister. Daddy went in for a bowl of chili and came out a few years later with a wife. By the way, it's the best restaurant in town. Of course, it was the only restaurant in town. This picture was made of Mommy and Daddy years after they were married in front of the little restaurant where they met. after they had grown old together. This picture is now etched on the tombstone where our father is buried and where our mother will soon lie next to him. And so they married. Daddy farmed. Mommy worked for the Union Underwear Company in Frankfort, Kentucky. The man who was her boss said she would be the best worker he had if she would just quit cutting up so much. Our mother always looked stylish. She was classy, even standing next to this 1949 maroon Chevy. It seems like every picture we have of Mommy, she's beautiful. Even standing by a fire plug, she looks so pretty and put together. Here she sits in the grass with her little dog. Again, she looks beautiful and classy. Standing beside our father, this picture was made before they were married. It is, in fact, their very first date. And guess where they were going? You're right. They were on their way to church. As time went on, Mommy and Daddy grew closer with every passing year. I used to say they were lovebirds with bird brains. Here is a newspaper article in May of 1946 describing the wedding of our mother and father. It said they had used the impressive double ring ceremony. It described what my mother wore and spoke of the only two people in attendance, Mr. and Mrs. Paul Smith. It also said that after the wedding they would go back to her brother's house, Robert Caton Bibb and Nancy Bibb, for a wedding supper. And the supper was even described. The couple would then take what was called a motor trip to Lexington and Central Kentucky. This newspaper said that Mother was a Sunday school teacher and our daddy was the Sunday school superintendent. Within a couple of years, a baby would be born, the first of 4. In this picture, our mother and our father are standing in front of the Perry Park Apostolic Church, which sits atop a hill there in Perry Park, holding their first child, our brother Danny. Our mother was a wonderful mother. She cooked and cleaned and hand-washed cloth diapers for years before all of her children were out of the baby stage. Following Danny, there would come more children. Danny would be followed by Michael. Michael would be followed by Reggie. And Reggie would be followed by Timmy. 4 boys. And not just 4 boys. 5 men eventually, including my father. 4 boys and our father to cook and clean and iron and care for, and our mother did it with love and grace and hands twisted by arthritis. The 4 of us had a wonderful life, and it was because of our mother and our father's love. They loved us dearly, and even though we looked like we may have been headed for the Hell's Angels, we had a great time. Our mother would order our clothes for us from Sears and Roebuck and Penny's. We never went shopping. She would lay them on the bed, and when we came home from school, she would have us try them on. Danny and I were generally dressed like twins. Then we'd wear them to school or church, and she'd take our picture like this one with a little Brownie 620 camera, without which there would have been no pictures. Well, we grew up. Somehow our mother and our father raised 4 boys to adulthood. Well, maybe not completely grown up into adults. It seems at Christmas every year, Mommy would buy us the same thing in an effort to make sure that one of us didn't get something that the other would have wanted. She bought us all the same thing. Every one of us got this tie and a pair of boxer shorts. It's just good that we were indoors. Well, most of the time we were indoors. We did go to Lexington to watch UK play ball in this outfit. Nothing made our mother happier than to see her 4 boys together having a good time. But we always took our Gideon Bibles. So we 4 boys owe our happiness to a wonderful mother and a wonderful father. Everybody, and I mean everybody, loved our mother, as you can see here, even gorillas. And who wouldn't love Santa Claus? Mommy would put this outfit on and walk house to house in the mobile home park where she and Daddy resided for 3 months in the winter, and she would take gifts to all the people in the park, just little things. It was an annual tradition. She even loved this little Cabbage Patch doll and kept it on her bed at all times, just because one of us gave it to her. Very few people carry a smile on their face more than our precious mother. She was a bundle of joy everywhere she went, and most generally the life of the party. Our mother would go to work every day for 20 years at Shoppers Mart, standing on a concrete floor, making minimum wage, and somehow she managed to save some money, and she used it to buy things for her boys. In the early years of our life, we would spend our Christmases and Thanksgivings with our grandmother and grandfather in Owen County. Mommy always went and helped cook and clean. Mommy credits her mother-in-law with helping her learn how to be a good cook, and a good cook she was. She has spent more hours in the kitchen than any woman we've ever known. And she was the best cook we've ever eaten after. She made us all our favorite birthday cake, even if that meant 4 different kinds of cakes. She would come home from work at Shoppers Mart on her lunch hour and fix dinner for Daddy and the boys, and sometimes the work hands or the veterinarian, and then go back to work, using her entire lunch hour to make sure we were fed. How do you put a value on somebody who makes sacrifices like that? Our mother and father would go to Florida each year. The first year they just stayed 2 weeks. But eventually they made such dear friends, they stayed 3 months each year. But when spring started to arrive, Daddy was ready to head home. He knew the baby calves would be coming and the grass would be turning green. And so he'd tell Mommy, "Pack up, we're heading home." Florida was good to them. They met wonderful friends who remained in their life forever. Generally, if you saw one of them, you saw both of them because they loved being together. Their home in Florida was modest and simple, just a mobile home, but it was all they needed. Daddy, being the farmer, had the prettiest lawn of anybody in the park, and Mommy, loving her flowers, had the prettiest flower garden. They would also participate in contests that were held in the mobile home park, which eventually landed them in first place in this 1950s bobby socks and poodle skirt contest. Daddy with his hair slicked back. These two would grow closer to each other with every passing day. And we would also eventually discover how valuable they were in our life. In 1976, Daddy went to Israel. He was gone 11 days. I was with him, and so was Twilla. And boy, did he miss our mother. He missed her so much that he bought her a ring there and brought it back home. Daddy didn't buy presents. He hated shopping. But he put the ring in a little leather pouch and hung it on the Christmas tree and told her to hunt for it. When she found it, she was thrilled. On one occasion, Mommy had ordered herself a new dress for Christmas, and it arrived a few days before Christmas, but she wasn't home. However, Daddy was. So he got the box and put it under the bed for a few days, and then as Christmas grew near, he wrapped it and slid it under the tree with Mommy's name on it. When she opened it, she said she didn't like it. Daddy said, "See, that's why I don't go shopping for you. You can't even please yourself, much less me please you." Our mother and father must have spent thousands of hours stringing beans, breaking beans, shucking corn, canning corn, peeling apples, making fried pies, canning butter beans and beets and pork tenderloin. And then in the winter, when the gardens were gone, we would have a wonderful meal of garden vegetables. During this time, Mommy and Daddy just grew closer together. Mommy loved her flowers and her birds and her water fountain, and we were constantly painting, repairing, and fixing it. Every year, I'm sure that the four of us boys have broken our mother and father's heart many times, but their love for us never failed. You cannot put a value on people who sacrifice for their children like our mother and father sacrificed for us. When she could no longer carry us in her arms, she carried us in her heart. And I now think that it is a pity that we often do not discover the value of our dear mothers and fathers until we have witnessed the end of their lives.
shine, and this beautiful home someday shall be mine. There's a beautiful home far over the sea. There's a beautiful home for you and for me. It's glittering tower the sun can't outshine, and this beautiful home someday shall be mine, and this beautiful home someday shall be mine.